On Friday night, the Jays welcomed back Hyun-Jin Ryu against the division leaders Baltimore Orioles, and while his start wasn't anything to get too excited over, he did manage to go into the 6th inning, allowing 4 earned runs on 10 total base runners. On paper, it doesn't look great, but watching the game was another story. He was in and around the zone as usual, throwing 54 of 80 pitches for strikes, with the only thing that looked somewhat wrong being his velocity, which was 91 on Tuesday, but on Friday, he was hovering around 88. That'll be something to keep in mind as he makes his second start next week, but all in all, you can't be too upset with his return. However, there are some implications that arise with Ryu's activation off the injured list, and that has to do with the rest of the pitching staff. You see, up until September 1st, you were only able to carry 26 men on the active roster, 13 batters and 13 pitchers, with most teams electing to go with a 5-man rotation and 8 relievers in the pen. But with Ryu's activation off the injured list, the Jays have elected to go with a 6-man rotation. This isn't something that's doable for the rest of the season, so it seems like the next few times through the rotation are a test of who will be put into the bullpen or not, and the early guesses are it will be either Alek Manoah or Yusei Kikuchi. When looking side by side of their stats, they're drastically different. For Manoah, he's taken a huge leap back from his success in 2022, and Kikuchi a huge leap forward. With just this eye test, it would be easy to pick Kikuchi and send Manoah to the pen. But Manoah has never come in relief, while Kikuchi has. In 2022, when the Jays moved into the pen, he pitched to a 4.91 ERA in 12 appearances, but started to get in the groove of things in his final 6 appearances, when he pitched to a 3.48 ERA and 17 strikeouts spanning over 10 and a third innings pitched. That's the main appeal for Kikuchi to be the one pushed into the bullpen, but he has quietly become a very reliable starter for the Jays. In his last 15 starts, he has a 3.69 ERA, and in his last 7, a 2.82. To me, it would be a disservice to take Kikuchi out of the rotation, which means Manoah gets the boot, especially since his first few starts coming back from the minors haven't been too impressive. He's still struggling to be efficient, throwing 19 pitches per inning, which is about 5 more than last year. His strike percentage is still very low at only 60%, which is 6 lower than last year, and his walk rate is also still elevated at 5.79. These numbers are unacceptable if the Jays want to continue their quest for a spot in the playoffs, meaning Kikuchi has to stay in the rotation and Manoah must go. But if I were the Jays, I wouldn't throw him in the bullpen. He still has the ceiling of a top 3 pitcher in the American League, which is what we saw just last year. I'd honestly rather him get optioned to the minor leagues once again. That way, he continues to throw 80 plus pitches and go 6 innings because he needs this conditioning. That's the only way we can ever see him return to being an ace, and we all know he is capable of doing it. But what do y'all think about the decision that is looming? Should the Jays keep Manoah in the rotation for the sake of having him at the MLB level, or should they option him to the minors and hope to see him make strides before the playoffs start? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below, and I will make sure to reply to each one of them. And if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.